this, folks. It's one game to change it all. It's the most expensive game in world football. It is the Championship Playoff. Who's going to go through? We're going to take a little look next. That's right, folks. Back once again with a prediction video. Today we're taking a look at the 2022-2023 Championship Playoff Final between Coventry City and Luton Town. Who's going to come out on top? We'll take a little look in a second. Of course, big shout out to my VIPs. They are the patrons. And of course, if you're new, where you been, smash the old subscribe and bang it. All things Championship related, Babin Rovers related, world football related. We're all here, boys. Under one roofski, of course. What a final we've got coming at you right here, right now. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it at the start of the season that Luton Town and Coventry will be duking it out for a spot in the Premier League? I did not see. I did anticipate a season of concern for Luton, especially when Nathan Jones left. And of course, Coventry City's start to the season was also very, very concerning. But they are here. They're here on merit. Of course, they both had fantastic semi-final results. But of course, what's going to go on in the final? Well, that's what we're going to try and find out in a second. Of course, don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up, and hit the little bell. But before we jump into that, a bit of housekeeping here. We, of course, been around a while. Been around a while, the channel, and we have been predicting championship games for a number of seasons now. Now, this season we started off just like we have been in the past, predicting each and every one of the championship games. But of course, mid-season there was a lot going on behind the scenes. I had to move house. Wife got a new job. My dog was sick at schools and grad school to finish up on. Everything kind of came to a boil, which meant I had to put the brakes on the channel. From January onwards, basically. But we're back here to wrap up the season. I want to let you know, as a viewer, as a subscriber, hopefully, that we'll be back next season, guns blazing, just like we have done in the past, predicting each and every one of the games. Just like this, but maybe even a bit more jazzy as we look forward to. But let's get into it, of course, and take a little look at what we're talking about. We're talking about the Championship Final. But before all that, let's have a look at the semi-final second legs. We were here, we did predict them, and of course, I actually went with a 1-1 draw on the night, which of course would have seen Sunderland go through, according to my mathematics, if my memory serves me. But of course that was not to be. It was a 2-0 win. I did predict the correct amount of goals. It was a 2-0 win for Luton. Goals from Osho early doors on the 10th minute. Tom Lockyer to really rub salt in the wounds. And of course, pretty much make the second half a dead rubber, really, because Sunderland were right up against it. Meanwhile, the other game was where it was all at. A level pegging after the first leg. The second leg, just the one goal, and it was Gustavo Hamer, the Dutchie. I went with a 2-1 win for Borough, and again, it went the other way. Absolutely. I predicted a north-east final at Wembley, but unfortunately, I was way off the mark. Luton Town and Coventry are doing the business, of course. So well done to them. Gustavo Hamer getting the only goal to put them through. Let's remind ourselves, though, of how the season panned out within the respective league. Of course, Luton Town did finish third, so respect for them. They are here on merit. They, of course, were unfortunate not to close the gap on Sheffield United. They were tremendous towards the back end of the campaign, leapfrogging Middlesbrough to get to that third spot. Coventry City, though, their back end of the season was where they really show what they're all about, their mettle. They closed out the final 5 games unbeaten, just like Luton Town. So looking pretty good heading into this. The momentum has been with them. I've been watching them. Keeping an eye on these bad boys, and their momentum has been with them. But same can be said for Luton Town. So I think we really had the two form teams in here, and that is key. That is the blueprint for success. If we want to look at how Rovers kind of tanked it, yes, we did do a great final game of the season, but we were winless in a bunch. So, and of course we did lose Wigan, Blackpool and Reading. They're gone, and already we've seen Cardiff lose their manager, Huddersfield Town looking for a new manager, and Swansea about to lose their manager, Watford bringing a new manager. So already the manager merry-go-round in the Championship, of course. But it's all about the final, so let's take a longer look at it then, shall we? Now, they are taking place on the 27th of May. It's 11:45 kickoff for me in the east coast of the United States. Don't know if I'm going to do a watch-along or not. I might just watch it with a couple of beers and enjoying the show. But 27th of May, let's take a look at the two teams. The two massively, no one would have picked this, but for the fans, this is an absolute day out and a half. Coventry City, managed by Mark Robbins, coming at you on 75% form, unbeaten in the last 6. In fact, they haven't lost in the last 9 games. Because at Luton Town side, managed by Rob Edwards, of course. It's such a story for Luton Jones, not for Luton Town. You know, their journey up and down the footballing ladder from the brink of, I think they were in the non-league, and then their journey back up. Then Nathan Jones doing a fantastic job last season, him to leave to Southampton. Luton taking an ex-Watford cast-off, because the bitter rivalry right there, taking him on board. And he's just continued where Nathan Jones left off and made the football much more enjoyable, I feel. But he's incredible stories for both sets of fans. And unfortunately, there's only going to be one winner out of this, so that's a shame. But Luton Town, managed by Rob Edwards, their form is 58% form at the moment. Just one win over the last 4, if you look, including the playoffs and the league. And we'll elaborate on that in a second, of course. Their biggest win, though, Luton over Coventry, was a 5-0 win. The biggest win the other way, Coventry over Luton, was a 3-0 win. Coventry have only scored 16 goals against Luton over the course of those 15 games. Works out around about 1.07 goals a game compared to Luton's 21 goals scored over Coventry, 1.40 goals a game heading into this. Of course, they met each other both times in the league, and they both ended up as draws. Of course, over at the Rica, it was a 1-1 draw. That was back in Feb, but if you turn the clock back all the way back to September, it was a 2-2 draw at Kenilworth Road. But Coventry's last victory over Luton Town, you got to go all the way back to back to October 2017. Not that long ago, in the grand scheme of things, but they were both in League Two, and it was the 3-0 win for Coventry way back when. Of course, prior to the playoffs, Luton did end the season with a 0-0 draw against Hull. Of course, prior to the end of the season for Coventry, they ended up with a 1-1 draw at Middlesbrough. In fact, the last 3 games Coventry have played have been against Middlesbrough heading into this. The goals, though, coming at you from Victor Gayorquez, got himself 21 goals this campaign, up against Luton Town's our very own hot man, Carlton Morris, 20 goals this season. Then the next best is Adebayo for Luton with 8, and Gustavo Hamer with 10. So let's see if they can continue where they left off. But let's break it down here. Of course, for the bookies odds, we have 21-10 is your Coventry, 29-20 is your Luton. It is a coin flip between the bookies. But if you are a mathematics genius, you would probably say it is Luton are favoured to win this with their high. And they were so in your face against Sunderland in the last game, and if they can bring that against Coventry's more defensive approach, then I think we could it could go the Hatters' way. 21-10 is the draw. Of course, that is over 90 minutes. But what about the odds to get promoted? And here it is in black and white. It is 11-10 your Coventry, 11-8 on is your Luton. They are favoured quite handsomely via the bookies. But what about me? What about my take on this one? Well, of course, I've done my own championship simulation between Coventry and Luton Town, simulated 100 times via Football Manager to give maybe an analytical approach. An analytical approach to it to see what the more likely outcome is if the game is to be played 100 times. That's a separate video. Check that Badgerina out. But what about my gut? I don't know. I really don't know. I actually think it is as much of a coin flip. Luton, if they were to get their noses up in front early doors, then I think it's game over. If Coventry were to get their noses in front early, then I think it could drag on a little bit. So I'm leaning towards Luton on this one, but something about Gayorquez has got me thinking that this kid's going to be playing in the Premier League one way or another, whether it is for Coventry or whether it is for another Premier League side. So he will be playing next season. When you look at Luton Town and you think, who out of this, they come in here, they've got a bit of a Huddersfield. I don't know, no disrespect to Huddersfield or Luton. I'm just trying to say, when Huddersfield got promoted by the playoffs, they didn't have a superstar standout in there. There was a team that came together, that worked together, that bonded, and they managed to stick around. So, you know, I think if Luton Town were to get promoted, they will be there for at least more than one season. If for Coventry, if they are to get promoted, I fear they could go straight back down there. There will be a hard task to keep a hold of their superstars, their goalkeeper, Gustavo Hamer, Gayorquez as well. Whether or not they get promoted or not, I think they are some really talented individuals. And I fear for the losing side as well on this one. I actually fear more for Coventry if they don't get promoted, because those players, you know, who are going to be sought after, get promoted or not, are going to be hard to keep a hold of. and rewards are going to have to be dished out if Coventry are to do it. But anyway, my underlining fear, I've got a scoreline right here right now, and I'm going with a penalty victory for Luton Town. I think it's going to be a tight game, a 1-1 draw after 90 minutes. It'll go the distance, and unfortunately, I think Luton the fans don't have that far to travel. It's going to be a day out, and it will be it'll be cherry on top for their own crazy journey to get to the Premier League. And well done to them. Well done to both of these sets of fans and players and clubs. This was far from if you put a quid on this at the start of the season, you would be a bazillionaire, I'm sure. But it's going to be. I feel guilty right now just saying it. But there's going to be a loser here, and in my eyes it will be Coventry, but only just. Please check out my simulation, my Football Manager 2023 simulation. 100 times I simulated it. There's good news and bad news for both sets of fans in this one, but for me, I'm going in favour of Luton with a penalty victory. But anyway, that's my take. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I'll see you soon. Of course, we've got lots of stuff on the channel over the next week or so, but until then, I'm out.